This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the place to go to if you want to set up your own slick-looking website or online store.
Hi-oh, my lovely YouTube peeps. Another minute has passed, and that means DJI has released another new drone, but this is a little bit different. This is an FPV drone. And here it is, the brand new FPV drone, straight out of the box fresh, without props on and still with stickers on. Let's remove this and check it out. As you can see, it's quite a different look to your Mavics. It's got the camera on the front here, but the props are kind of angled, it's not flat. And it's got a forehead. In fact, the whole design is kind of reminiscent of that thing out of Aliens. You know, that thing. Now, I've been sent the FPV Combo, which is a big box. Here we are. Look at that. What does it include? It's upside down. Yeah, flip the camera upside down. Easier. You get one of these, controller, and your goggles. The goggles are magnificent. Check this out. The one thing is, it's a bit of a pain for any glasses wearers to get on. You kind of get your glasses squashed right into your eyeballs. It's a sexy look, isn't it? It makes me look like a superhero, like a Kamen Rider. It does kind of feel a bit uncomfortable wearing glasses. I probably want to wear contacts with this. But there you go. That's the goggles. These are the aerials. And all the aerials are detachable, of course. And these are quite lightweight. That's because the battery is external. You have to connect it via wire. And it's got a cable that's long enough so you can put the battery in your pocket and then you plug it in here. And it would make these goggles more comfortable to wear for prolonged periods of time, so it wouldn't feel like it's slipping down your face all the time. And by the way, flight time is 20 minutes on one charge. And we've got buttons here. You've got a record button, you've got a little nipple thing. And that little nipplet thing is to go through the menus. Click it to go in the menu, and then you go up, left, right, down. So along with the micro SD slot on the drone itself, you've got micro SD slot on the goggles, USB-C right here. That's to charge it, and also you can connect your phone to it. Let me show you this. For people eyes wide apart, eyes closer together, one of each. You just adjust that by moving these. So these are the version 2 goggles. These have got two frequencies. You've got 2.4 and 5.8 gigahertz, whereas the last one just had 5.8 gigahertz. And with the version 2, you've got a longer transmission distance of 10 kilometers versus 4 of the version 1. And you've got audience mode where you can transmit what you're seeing to other goggles. Then we've got a controller here which looks unlike the Mavic controllers. There's a dial here, 3 buttons, oh that's return home, and 2 switches here. You've got M, S, and N mode. We'll get to that in a minute. And then your control sticks. And of course the sticks are detachable. Now apparently the controller has ultra low latency, 7 milliseconds, which is important when it comes to FPV flying. Because when you've got the goggles on, God, gonna get the glasses squashed from my face again. Just take the freaking glasses off. I have to say, you're gonna make all the cool kids jealous when you're out in the field looking like this. Because when you've got your goggles on and you're so immersed in the FPV flying, and that's what it's all about, the immersiveness, you don't want any latency. Because you just might end up effing up your FPV by stacking it in a tree or something. Alternatively, you've got this motion controller pistol grip thing, which makes you feel like a fighter pilot. Maverick.
We've also revolutionized the FPV experience by creating the DJI Motion Controller, a compact device that enables ultra-intuitive flight.
Yes, quite. On a side note, that thumb is freaky. Okay, now I must add that I'm not actually going to fly this in this video because drones, legally, you're supposed to keep it within your line of sight. FPV, you've got goggles on. And while you've got your goggles on, the drone isn't within your line of sight. Depending on where you live, you might need what is called a spotter, somebody to keep an eye out on your drone for you while you've got your goggles on. That's why when you look at DJI's promo vid, you always see somebody stood next to the person flying it. It's not necessarily because they've got a friend or girlfriend, it's because they need somebody to keep an eye out on their drone so that they don't fly into a pylon.
But yes, because it's locked down, there's nobody in my bubble that is capable or wants to take that responsibility of being the spotter. That is something you might want to consider. If you don't have any friends, you might not want to get an FPV. Now I have to say that I've never flown FPV before because they usually lack the advanced safety tech that you see in the Mavics. So that means no obstacle detection, no GPS, and when you add my skills into the equation, that equals quite a high crash risk factor. After all, the way you maneuver and what you can do with an FPV is quite a bit different to your regular Mavics. But with DJI's tech, they've made their consumer drones easier to fly, harder to stack, and with that same tech, they're making this the easy way into the world of FPVs. Now, one thing DJI has done to make getting a grasp of FPV flying that much easier is that they've got a simulator on your smartphone.
The throttle controls propeller speed.
The throttle?
Controls the horizontal rotation of the aircraft's nose.
Yeah, okay.
Aircraft has 3 flight modes: normal, manual, and sport. Toggle the switch is shown to switch between modes.
I should just use that as a voiceover. N is just like flying any other Mavic drone, really.
M mode is commonly used by aerial photographers, videographers, and beginning FPV pilots.
I forget flying with the actual FPV. This is loads of fun. Ah, Scheiße. Ah, that's why I thought that's a bit normal-like. I was in N mode all along. Let's try sports mode. Sports mode is in the middle. The sports mode is kind of a go-between normal mode and full manual mode. It provides self-stabilized flight and maintains the flight altitude, and also the rolls and the pitches are limited in their angles. If you've flown other Mavics before, it's still quite a familiar way of flying. Oh, Jesus Christ. The great thing about this is that crashing it doesn't cost you a thing. An M on the bottom. M mode is the full-blown FPV experience
And is most suitable for users interested in FPV racing and freestyle tricks.
although you can set an attitude limit which keeps the drone level when you don't do anything with the sticks. It will also limit the roll and the pitch, and it won't flip. It starts to move about. Oh, I'm rolling about! Oh God, Maverick, Goose! Oh. Right, now that is why you need to simulate. Oh no, uh-oh. We're down. With the attitude limit switched off, and you have to unlock it, by default it's switched on. It is in full manual mode, full FPV experience mode. So no flight assistance, no leveling, the only thing you have is emergency brake and hover and return to home in case things go wrong. In case you need it, emergency brake and hover makes the drone stop and hover in place. Now in terms of sensors, detection sensors that is, there are 4 in total, 2 on the bottom there, that's for landing the thing. 2 on the front, that's activated in N mode, that's for anything in front and it will slow the drone down, but otherwise in S or M mode, those 2 on the front are deactivated. Now for that fully immersive FPV experience, it has got an ultra wide 150-degree angle of view in 50 FPS and 100 FPS, or otherwise it's 142 degrees in 60 and 120 FPS. Now the FPV has got a wider angle than Mavic. The Mavic has got, the Mavic 2 Pro, I think it's 77-degree angle view. So 150 degree, that's quite a bit wide. But when you've got your goggles on, you want that immersive feel. I mean, especially when you're just looking through the goggles, you want to be able to see what's around you. You don't want to just have that. But with such an ultra wide angle view, when you've got the gimbal pointed down, you will actually see a bit of the props. It does also have the option of DJI's rock-steady electronic image stabilization, which is only saved onto the microSD card. You don't see it through the goggles because that might affect latency, which is not good. By far, this is the easiest, simplest way of getting to FPV flying. I mean, everything's all in the box there. To do all that trick FPV flying, it does require some slick drone flying skills. If you want to get going with it without fearing you'll crash the thing immediately, DJI's clever software stuff is the perfect way to ease you into it. Just be careful not to flick it to M mode to start off with. Video is sponsored by Squarespace. If you want to set up your own domain, online retail space or website, it's super simple to get started and make your next move with Squarespace. With an easy to use interface filled with loads of templates and backed up with 24/7 customer service. You can try it out with a 14-day free trial and get 10% off your first order with this link and discount code.